Hello and welcome everybody to Flicker Effect, episode 404. We are recording and broadcasting live on Monday, May 23rd, 2022. I'm David Lott. Joining me as always is Bobby Jackson. How's it going, Bobby?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty well. After a weekend of MegaCon craziness, I'm back at home and ready to do a show.
I didn't even realize you guys had MegaCon this past weekend. You didn't mention it.
Yeah, MegaCon. We'll talk about it a little bit. But
Yeah.
also here, Yasha Wilson. How's it going, Yasha?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? It's going well.
Good.
Also to my right, Michelle Hillard, but you're below me here on the screen, but you're right over there.
Hello.
Hi.
Michelle.
Hello. I'm back.
Plenty of new stuff and trailers to talk about this week. We don't have a like specific review, so no movie review, though. I mean, there's movies I think we almost all have seen different ones. I know Michelle, you've seen Downton Abbey. I don't know, Bobby and Yasha, what you guys have watched. I guess we'll find out in a minute. But we'll talk about some news, some trailers. Yeah, MegaCon was this weekend here in Orlando, so went to that. Didn't do any panels though. Just walked the floor with the kids, by myself a little bit with Michelle. But
That's cool.
Is that where
MegaCon
you got those mugs or those glasses?
Yeah, this is where I got
The pint glasses.
the new Guinness glass. You
Yeah.
can see it in the. I like this.
Samuel.
I wish I knew the vendor's name. I could look it up and maybe put it in the show notes or something.
I think
I
he
like
goes to
that.
I think he goes to Dragon Con, so we could definitely.
I've definitely
find out.
seen these glasses before. At least this
Okay.
this Alec Guinness one I've seen, and I've wanted to buy and I never did for some reason. And this year I was like, all right, I'll pull the trigger and buy the glass. It's pretty sweet.
I just love that you can really see Alec Guinness.
Yeah,
His
no,
face,
it's
like,
Yeah,
It's really
It's
awesome.
that's his face. That's
That
all
is
like
just
his
so-
face. That's it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, it says underneath. I don't know what it says in cursive,
funny.
actually. I guess that's just his signature.
I think it's
Yeah.
his signature. Yeah.
I think that's Alec
'Cause if you
Guinness's
look at
signature.
so we also got coasters.
Yeah,
That's
So-
McGregor and the late.
That's pretty
Michelle,
cool.
yours is Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yeah, it says, but it's done in the like
Mace Windu.
Samuel Adams kind of.
Sam
Yeah,
Adams
well,
style.
yeah.
But yeah,
Sam
it says Mace Windu and it says Jedi Patriot and it's got his lightsaber on the
Huh.
bottom.
That's fun.
It's pretty sweet. I don't
That's
think my
fun.
camera quite works as
Yeah.
nicely as David's does, but
Hmm.
yeah, he's got even coasters that are like the gentleman who voices Obi-Wan in the animated series.
That's
then
That's
he would-
cool.
Ewan McGregor's. And I will say, like, when you look at Ewan McGregor's face in this, and then you look at Alec Guinness's one, I'm like,
It's
they
a
are pretty similar.
it's a
Hmm.
good like
Like-
mirror kind of version of
Are they
Yeah.
Are they like paper or are they like actual like leather, like tough?
No,
to,
those
like,
are just like
stand?
they're like a high quality.
It's a
paper
really
version, but
high
it's not a
quality
paper version coaster.
coaster? I mean, like, this isn't your
Hmm.
normal bar
Okay.
brewery
I just wanted
coaster.
to like,
This
is it
is
something that you would
essentially-
save or is it something that you would like use once and then like?
I haven't
Probably
used them yet.
trash.
I just kind of it was like I was buying
They're
the
cute.
glasses and the coasters were there, and I was like, oh, these are like $5
Yeah.
or $3. Yeah, I'll get the coasters too. Why not?
They're fun.
They're fun. If they had done the glass version of the McGregor, I would have bought.
Just
that
had a
too,
set.
but yeah,
Well
I
said.
think they only had this. Again, I wish I knew that.
The Sam
vendor's
Jackson
name.
was pretty sweet, even though I don't even drink Sam Adams. Like,
Yeah, it's not
still look fun.
Were there any others?
No.
Okay.
That was it.
Just those two.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, MegaCon. There was some good cosplays this year. I feel like there's a lot of the same people that come back to MegaCon. They're all wearing the
Hmm.
same stuff. But then obviously this year there was new stuff. There was some Moon Knights.
Mhm.
There
Okay.
My
was
few Moon Knights.
yeah. There was
Yeah.
a lot of
Which
there was
Moon
a
Knight?
decent amount of I saw both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw both. And then like there was a good amount of Scarlet Witches and Lokis. Obviously it's just all that's just so very fresh.
Actually, got footage of an actual gator
Oh,
with
yeah.
with the Loki horns on.
Oh, nice.
This
Wow.
guy actually had a
How can you
gator.
bring a gator into the?
He was a vendor.
It was like a group that had a booth. They do
reptiles
They
and stuff.
do work with reptiles, and they had some reptiles you could pet. You could actually donate and hold this. I mean, it wasn't like obviously a
Okay.
full size gator. It was
Yeah.
But this was in Florida, right?
yes.
It's
Okay.
not that surprising.
There's your answer, Bobby. That's your answer. How can
Yeah,
you bring
and then-
it's fucking Florida? That's how you can bring that in.
He was so cute because he had his little like Loki crown on him. It was
No, it was pretty sweet.
adorable. It was like,
yeah.
it was like
I can
on
see
one side
that-
of me, I'm like, oh, it's animal cruelty. On the other side of me, I'm like, but it's really cute.
I just feel like the people that would be policing that sort of would be like, man, you can't bring that gator in here. It's like, well, it has a crown. Oh, well, if it has a crown, then you go ahead and bring the gator in here.
There you go. I used electrical tape to tape his mouth shut.
He ain't
so-
gonna hurt nobody. It's Bob. It's just Bob. We just dressed Bob up for the fucking for the fucking show. That's all we did. We just dressed up Bob.
It's like I was waiting for a Florida Man headline to come out of MegaCon, you know? Florida Man at
Seriously, I was like,
MegaCon.
Right.
Gator attacks MegaCon goers dressed up as Loki. Guy's defense
Oh, that would
says
be
it wasn't
great.
supposed to be in this timeline to begin with. That was his defense.
That would be hilarious.
I'm sorry. Bobby liked that one.
It's pretty good. Wrong
But,
timeline.
The 501 Legion, 501st, 501. What do they call them?
501st.
501st
Oh,
Legion
501st,
came.
yeah.
And their booth setup was
Yeah,
extensive and
I feel
pretty
like
sweet.
the Florida Garrisons,
Yes.
like they have this booth. It's like it's supposed to be a mock-up of like this kind of like little small portion of Tatooine. They even had like a cantina bar.
It was like
They
a
weren't
couple different
serving
sections.
anything at it, but
It was
no,
pretty
I
cool.
feel like each year they up the ante of like the immersion factor of like when you walk through there and the different 501st members that are just kind of wandering through and
Hmm.
a couple people like playing a game at a game, at the game table,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool.
I mean, for something that's not like corporately sponsored, like, I mean, we're so used to you go to Comic Con and, all these companies are sponsoring these huge booths, like the Walking Dead booth is put together by
Right.
set people that actually make sets and crap,
Right.
And this is your average person. They are just coming together and making this like little interactive like space. I mean, they had like little banners, little like like the Star Wars banners that you see outside of like Maz's castle.
Mhm.
Those are
Mm.
kind of everywhere. Like it was like they did a good job. I was like, this is cool. And they had a bunch of like replica robots. They had the replica robot that was the bounty hunter robot from Mandalorian.
Hmm.
That was kind of cool. Yeah, no, it was pretty sweet actually.
yeah, I mean, I guess
IG-11?
what's that?
You'll kind of appreciate this
IG-11.
story.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Huh?
IG-11, the bounty hunter you're thinking of.
Oh yes, IG-11. Yeah, so like they had him. They had a couple other robot replicas that were there. It was pretty cool. It was nice. And of course, there's a lot of automobile replicas that are there from all kinds of everything. Ghostbusters, Back to the Future. The Batmobile was there. What was the other one I saw?
Which Batmobile?
It was like it's 60s.
The show.
Yeah, the show.
69.
Like the converted the 67
Yeah.
Continental.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool one. I like that
what
style.
was there?
You'll appreciate this story. Just to kind of touch back, you guys were just mentioning it. It just reminded me of it when you were talking about the Guinness and the Alec Guinness and the Obi-Wan and stuff like that. I had a little bit of a conversation. There's at the end of my workouts, I go and sit in the sauna, and there's a group of us in the sauna the other day, last Friday. And it's just, I don't know how you guys feel, but sometimes when somebody tells me something regarding pop culture and or release dates, and they're wrong, but they're so emphatic that they know what they're talking about, I get upset. Like I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Please shut the fuck up, type of situation, like that type of thing. So this gentleman in the sauna was he was like, oh, blah blah, and he said something about Obi-Wan, and I just kind of perked up a little bit. He's like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching it, and I was like, next week. He's like, no, it comes out today, and I'm like, no, it comes out next week. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure it comes out today. They have 2 episodes. They're going to release 2 episodes. I'm like,
Friday at the end of the month.
I'm like, cool, man. I'm pretty sure that it's next week, but
Okay.
You can watch it
Yeah,
today.
you get
if
you
it's
get to a point where you just like wave the white flag of like, okay, it's whatever.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm just like my group is pretty in tune with this shit, and I'm telling you right now
Like,
that it's not today, it's next week. And he was just like, he was really kind of insistent about it, and it was just, he was insistent but nice about it. And then
Right.
today when I saw him today in the gym in the weight room, he was like, "Oh, you were right. It's actually this week." I'm like, "Oh yeah." I actually looked it up when I got home, and I noticed that
verified.
it wasn't on par. It was for next week. He's like, "Yeah, I thought it was. I could have sworn that it was last week." And I was like, "Yeah, but it
Tried to
wasn't.
tell you.
You were wrong."
It's hard when that kind of thing happens because you're trying not to be like
A
that
dick?
guy. And
I know, right?
so it's like there's sometimes I'm usually like, I'm like, oh, I guess I was under the impression that it was on this other date,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. We should check it and just to verify. And then they're like, no, it's this. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna peek just for funsies. Let me just hold on a second and like get my phone. I'm like,
I mean, I could have been an
just for
asshole and
fun
pulled out
and
my
make sure.
phone. Yeah, I could have
Yeah.
been an asshole and pulled out my phone and brought up like Disney Plus right then and there. And I just
Right.
didn't. I just was like, I just kind of let it go, and I just kind of let him keep talking. And I was just like I said, it's like, I'm like, my group is pretty in tune with all of this shit, and I'm telling you, they would have said something, probably all of them all at once, if it was coming out today. Like they would have heard about it. And
My favorite was when they're like, oh, the tickets aren't even on sale yet, whilst I have a ticket in my AMC app. And I'm like,
while you're holding
I'm
a
like,
ticket on Fandango.
actually, I think that the tickets are actually already on sale. They're like, no, I looked, and I'm like, no, they're, and I'm like, and I'm sitting here in my head, I'm like, I know because I already have a seat reserved in
Yeah.
row G, seat number 9, next to David, who's in 10. Like, nope, 7:30.
Seriously.
Everything. Tickets been purchased for over a week. Yeah, yeah. It's hard when people do stuff like that. I'm like,
I just think it's fun. I think it's funny. I think it's really funny. Like I had a friend of mine that I used to work with at Dave and Buster's, and he's a huge comic guy and nicest cat in the world. And like that's how we actually bonded and became friends. As he mentioned something about comics, and I chimed in, and I knew what I was talking about, and he was just like, "Oh wow, like you really know this stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, like this. I do know this stuff." And so this other person like tried to chime in, like, and contribute to the conversation. And he said something, I don't even remember what he said, but it was so asinine and it was so off the cuff, and it was about Superman. And I just looked at him and I'm like, and the guy that I was talking to, my buddy, was just like, walk away. And like I looked at this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, so you know what I mean." I'm like, "You should probably just go." Like it's like
I
you're
just love that
embarrassing
one.
yourself. You're just embarrassing yourself now. It's not helpful. You're not contributing anything. So
overall impressions of this year's MegaCon, David.
I mean, it was MegaCon. I don't know. Like, don't go on a Saturday. If you ever decide to go to MegaCon, that would be my only tip: is just stay away on a Saturday. It's just,
was it crazy?
It's crazy. I
It's
mean,
crazy
the numbers
busy on
of
Saturday.
MegaCon, and I do feel
This was
like
the highest year.
I feel like I've seen in the Orlando Business Journal, like every year, like a month or two after the con happens, they'll release numbers, and they're crazy numbers. To the point, like the way it is on Saturday, I'm like, I feel like you guys aren't capping it at a low enough number. Like there's too many people in this room. Like, and I say that, and I've been to San Diego Comic-Con with you guys. Like, it's crazy there too, obviously,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's even parts of that floor where it's like, yeah, there's the crazy sections around all the studio booths and the big comic book booths, and then there's like the other areas you can kind of go to, and it's not so bad.
It's a little more spacious.
You know,
Yeah.
there's like on Saturday on the floor of MegaCon, there is no like I can go over here and it's not so bad. It's just all terrible. It's just all like this. It's not enjoyable whatsoever.
They said that this year it was a record sales of like the tickets were a record. So whether or not that means, you know, depending on how many people actually badged in, I guess we don't know that number yet. But as far as the sales of the tickets, it's the highest ticketed sales they've had ever.
And if you are going to go, I would, if you're going to go for more than one day, I say do like we did, get a hotel room. I mean, I live locally. I don't need to get a hotel room there, but it's just so convenient. because the parking situation also at the convention center here is, I mean, at least when it's that many people, it's terrible. Like
Yeah.
people waiting in line to park for like almost 2 hours just to park their car so that they can go to the convention. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard some
You
people
got a
were
hotel
sitting
room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
wow.
I mean, the MegaCon like deals on the two like bigger hotels right next door were pretty decent.
Hmm.
And it was a nice little staycation with the kids, like being able to have a hotel room you can kind of go back to when you want to take a break and then go back to the con if you want, or go have some pool time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think next year it'll be let's go for the whole day Friday and go for the whole day on Sunday.
And then,
And then
just be at the pool on Saturday.
Sing at the pool.
Yeah.
Just, have a little chill time at the pool.
How far
We
is
get there.
it?
How far is it like driving from the house?
Yeah.
It's like 30 minutes.
30
It's not
minutes.
far.
But
Be
I
like
mean, I
going
say
to
that.
Anaheim for me. I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of.
Right.
But yeah, like I heard on Saturday, Dave was talking about the parking. Like our main interstate here, I-4, people were sitting on I-4 in that section. Like they said that it would take them from one point to a certain point about 2 hours in either direction to get through that section of I-4. And I was like,
Hmm.
ugh.
Right.
It's just not, the parking is just not good there. But
Hmm.
I digress. I'm glad it was a good con.
It was good.
Yeah,
I mean,
worked out well.
like I said, I didn't do any panels. I haven't in the past, just not this year. But it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kevin Smith had a panel. The Hobbits had a panel.
yeah,
The original
there's
four
a
Hobbits.
Hobbit reunion.
Yeah.
Hobbit
Really?
reunion.
The original
Yeah.
That's
Hobbits?
cool.
Yeah, Elijah, Sean Astin.
Elijah there too? Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yep.
Yeah. What's his name? Donahue. No, I keep on thinking Donahue, not Donahue.
Dominic Monaghan.
Dominic Monaghan. Another guy I can't think of.
Billy
Billy something.
Lloyd or something like
Yeah,
that.
Billy Lloyd. That sounds
Yeah.
right. All four of them.
Samwise
had a
Gamgee
panel.
showed up there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Sean Astin actually had a
Billy
panel.
Boyd?
Sean Astin.
Billy
Boyd.
Boyd. There it
Hey,
is. Billy Boyd.
Boyd.
Yeah. I pulled
Sean
it.
Astin even had
There
a
you go.
separate panel on his own just because of Goonies and everything else that he's
Mm.
done, and for Stranger Things a little bit. Like it was just kind of a Q&A with Sean Astin, so it turned into that one. I think was more of a Goonies, Stranger Things kind of a Q&A kind of thing.
Right.
And then Brendan Fraser was here and he had a Q&A.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
I would
There
have
was some
definitely
good-
went to that.
I mean, for a con
Yeah.
that's not, Comic-Con, we get some people. We get some people down here in
No,
Orlando.
that's pretty
dope,
solid.
man. No, that's a solid panel right there. I wouldn't even mind joining to see that.
Yeah, I mean, a couple years
cool.
ago, we went and one of our favorites, John Barrowman, had a panel the one year.
that's
That was a
right,
fun
yeah.
one. That was a good one, actually. He's always good. He's always a fun panel, though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I haven't been on the show in a long time.
Well,
No. How long has it been for you?
It has been a while. It's been a while. I have not reviewed Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, that's right. You haven't. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of that movie?
One of the the Marvel movie I was looking forward to absolutely the most this year, and I didn't get to review with you guys because I had no voice.
Well, real quick.
My quick thoughts are, because there's a lot. I really, really, really loved it and enjoyed it. I have a few kind of nitpicky things, but I'll be honest, yeah, it was really good. I'm very happy with it.
cool.
I won't do any, even though it's been out for a while, I won't spoil anything, but there's a scene, they're in a completely different multiverse, and you get a completely different number of heroes that are the Illuminati, and that scene and the scene that follows that scene are so amazingly good. I was just geeking out of my little seat, and I already knew two or three people in that scene were kind of spoiled for me, but the big one I had somehow managed to not hear, and when he came on, I was like,
That's cool.
"This is amazing!" I lost my mind. I was like, "Oh my god!" Because I don't know how I didn't hear about it, but I didn't hear about it, and I was so excited. And then the next scene was rough. And then the next scene was really rough to watch.
It's
I
a
was
little
like,
brutal. It's just a
yeah,
little
this
brutal.
is rough.
Yeah, that whole scene was
No,
brutal.
overall, I'm very happy with it. I have a few things here and there. There's times I'm like, is it too much Sam Raimi? And there's other times it's like, it's not enough Sam Raimi. Like, I don't know. I felt like I kind of went back and forth on that throughout most of it. But then it's like, there's a really good like chase scene, and it's just such a good horror. The bad guy's chasing you, and it's just done so ridiculously well that I was like, this is awesome. I love it. So no, I would say overall very happy with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm looking forward to seeing it in my home soon. It starts streaming on the 22nd of June, right?
That's the rumor.
That's,
Or
yeah,
was it
that's
the
what I've
22nd or
heard.
was it a different date? Am I making this up?
No, I think it's.
I just don't think that's
22nd,
been
that's what
officially
I've heard.
said.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but it looks like soon. Soon it will be on Disney Plus. God bless.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you were kind of on par with everybody. Their review, like we all nitpicked a little bit, but we all really enjoyed it.
There's a few things, a little bit of some of the stuff with the ending, I think, for me. But if I look at the movie as a whole, I'm very happy with this film, and I was looking forward to this movie for a long time, and I've been geeking out about this film, and I remember I feel like I've spent the last 2 months just with my fingers in my ears, just going la la la. I don't want to. It's very hard to not just have everything totally spoiled. Oh, were they at the restaurant?
Yeah, no, I was
Sorry, totally different subject.
I was gonna, since we were talking about the
back to MegaCon.
the reunion. I keep seeing that image pop up. Some restaurant here in Orlando. I've actually been trying to figure out where that is. There's like a construction wall out there in the background.
I'm
And,
trying to see which one this is.
but anyway, yeah,
That's really neat. That's really cool.
Mhm.
yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
I really like Elijah Wood too. I wish he would show up in more stuff.
They're
Or more
so
stuff than I
cute
know.
and happy. They're like all four of them are just sitting there, just like, hey, and the gang's all together. Like they're having a good time. Cute little
Before
hobbit.
we get too far into it, I have to
Yeah.
ask, since we were still talking about MegaCon, did you see any Doctor Stranges?
Yeah,
Any
There was some
American?
strange.
I
There
thought
was
they-
one that was really good. They put on their Instagram of him. I
Yeah.
saw him on Friday, and then they put a photo of him, and he was really good. There was a couple that are really good. Like a lot of people do
Okay.
a pretty good job here. Like I would say, like I don't know. There's a really good amount of people who do cosplay, and a lot of it is actually pretty quality. Some of it's just people throwing stuff on. There's some good people. There's some people that definitely put
Well, I mean, as
some
with
work
any
into
con,
it.
there's-
Yeah, it's just
of
like
course
with
there's
any
gonna
con.
be-
How
The Marvel get together photo was pretty cute that they did this year. I liked it. It was a good one. It's cute.
How about what?
America Chavez. Anyone just?
I didn't notice.
I
any,
didn't notice any.
but doesn't
Okay.
mean there weren't any there, of course. But I
Right.
don't
I think
know.
because it's such a casual wear that unless you saw the star
Yeah.
on the back of a jacket,
Right.
I don't think you would
Right.
really. Honestly, I
Yeah.
just don't think you'd really connect because she's just wearing clothes. She's wearing
Pretty
regular
much.
clothes. So I
But
think
the
unless
t-
you saw the star on the jacket, I don't think it would have tipped me off if I walked by one.
The two I really want to know because you guys have named a lot of recent stuff that's people have been dressed up as. Any Shang-Chi or any Eternals?
Ah.
I did not
No,
notice.
not that I
any.
noticed.
Oh,
Oh man,
ouch.
I know. I think
No.
at Dragon Con we'll see some of that.
yeah.
'Cause
Oh
people
yeah. No,
do- there's
no
enough
doubt at
off
Dragon
beats.
Con, that's a whole different ball game when it comes to cosplay. I mean, and this will maybe play into another complaint about this year for me. So basically at our convention center, like we have like an old building, they call it the West Concourse, and it's newer building. It's been there quite a while now, but it's the North-South Concourse. And it's like one year they'll have it over in the West building, and the next year they'll have it in the North-South building. And this is one of those North-South years. And it's nice. It's a newer building and it's a big building. But one thing I don't like about it is that the lobby area isn't as big. Like over at the older building, there's like more, it seems to be more lobby space, more areas to kind of like have big groups get together for group photos, or just cosplayers will tend to hang out in the lobby areas to like do photos and stuff, because like walking around the exhibit floors can be a shit show. So I think that's another thing. Like there just wasn't as much space in the lobbies this year to like see a lot of the cosplayers. Maybe that's why I didn't see a lot of stuff, and I'm sure there was a lot of great cosplay, and probably Shang-Chi's that I just never saw.
Well, and I think that section. So I will say the Orange County Convention Center is actually really nice. Like they have really nice greenery and gardens on the outside. The building is kind of cool. Like there is definitely photo places you could go just on the outside of the convention center. I think a lot of people do a lot outside sometimes. It's like you'll just be driving down the road that's there. It's called International Drive. Everybody's called it iDrive. If we drive down iDrive, and there's just all these cosplayers. Some people are taking photos, and some people are just walking by. Like, yeah, no, it's that's that Marvel photo.
I've seen that at WonderCon.
The Marvel
too,
shop
where
this
it's
year
like
is
that.
pretty good.
What I'd like to see, I'd love to see some Eternals, and I think we might see a couple at Comic-Con. But I'd really like to see is different variations of Strange in the timeline. I think that would be kind of really cool. Like, one that was like, basically a black and white Strange, a little bit more of the gray underlining tones with the third eye already. And then, the one with the ponytail, and then
the Zombie
Sorcerer Supreme, Zombie Strange, Sorcerer Supreme Strange. Like, I would love to see a group of guys all walking around like that. That'd be cool.
That would be kind of
And
cool.
that would probably happen more at Comic-Con. I would be shocked if we didn't see something like that at Dragon Con this year when we go, because there's always people that get together and do group stuff, which is always awesome. So I mean, I'm sure we'll see something. So yeah,
I think that'll do it for MegaCon. We've got a new trailer that dropped today for Mission Impossible 7, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I think is that full title. What, it leaked like 2 or 3 days ago on social media, or was it even just a couple days ago?
I think it was just yesterday.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a couple days ago.
It's been a long week for you, hasn't it, Dave?
Okay.
It's Monday.
Anyway, what did you guys think of the trailer?
To me, it's like, it's there's not a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of quick cuts. But overall, it looks like it's another Mission Impossible movie. It's hard to really tell what makes it distinctive. You see Tom Cruise doing his signature running, and you also see that there's at least one big stunt in there towards the end of the trailer, which you come to expect from a Mission Impossible movie. So, I mean, it looks good. I definitely like seeing some of the ladies returning, like Vanessa Kirby and Rebecca
Ferguson.
Yes,
Rebecca
Ferguson. So that all looks good, but definitely want to see a second trailer that gets into it a little bit more. But for a first look, I thought it was pretty nice.
I agree. I follow up with your thoughts. I thought, you're not getting really any dialogue, just kind of this overlay of the one guy talking. I guess a little like speech he kind of gives, but then looks like a lot of cool locations. Looks like there's some decent action, some decent, like, everybody's running for something, everybody's driving crazy stunts. Like, you can tell there's definitely a good amount happening in this for sure. And like you said, like, it's nice to see like the gang's all back. Then there's the addition of Haley Atwell, and it looks good. I mean, there's a lot of people in this movie too. Like, there's an insane amount of people in this movie. I was watching, I was like, I didn't even know that person was going to be in this movie. Dang, like, I love the Mission Impossible franchise. I mean, maybe aside from like the second film and the third film, I think those aren't the most standouty to me. But overall, it's been a really good franchise, I think. And it's impressive to see where it's gone to at this point, and it's going to be intense per usual. I mean, Tom was running the Tom run in that trailer, and I was like, it's intense. So we good.
Yasha, any thoughts on it?
I mean, the same. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I've been watching it. I think I was just talking to somebody about it earlier today. I'm really looking forward to it. I love to see what Tom's going to bring out of nowhere. It's like, well, how do we top this and how do we top that? And I don't think he's going to disappoint. You're definitely going to get him running. It's an action film after all. The guy's in great shape. He works really hard. Love the addition of Issa Morales. Like, I think he's such a great actor, and I as much as I would love to see him do other stuff, and maybe I just don't see it that often, but I love it. If he's playing the bad guy, I'm all in. Like, I think he makes an amazing bad guy. He's very menacing. And Kittredge is back, Henry Czerny, from the first one. I think he might have been in the last one as well, but I love his character and how he talks to Tom Cruise, because he's menacing as well, almost just like an over-the-top type of bad guy, but with good intentions, or a good guy with like bad intentions. I don't know how you would classify him, but he's very menacing as well. And I remember watching him. He's such a great and fun actor, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. And even the part one is just like, so now I expect a huge cliffhanger, and we don't really know what's going to happen. And I love the fact that Haley Atwell's in it. I think she definitely deserves to be a front running character. So I hope she's good. I would love it if she was the bad guy. That'd be awesome to see her break away from the shiny, golden girl that she was in, the MCU, to basically be a bad guy. Like, that's why I love Henry Cavill in the last one. Is just, he was the bad guy, and he was a great one. Like, he just crushed it. So I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it. I love the series. So let's do it. I'm all in.
Yeah, just echo everything you guys say. It looks great. I think my only annoyance is like, this is way too early. Oh. No, like, I don't
does seem way too early.
Like,
it does.
When's it?
I expected it to
next year,
2023 sometime.
That's what I thought.
Have a release date.
I thought it just said June 2023.
No, I think it just said next year. And you look at IMDb.
Or some. That's right. It just say summer 2023. That's all it said. Summer 2023.
So.
Yeah. I was surprised that it came out. Like, that they leaked it, but it's like, and then they just released it probably just to control the narrative. They're like, fuck it, if it's out there, just like, at least we can get the hits.
Top Gun, I guess. But
yeah, that's what
I was expecting in front of Top Gun.
I guess that's the idea.
But if the current date on IMDb is to be believed, it's July of 2023. I'm like, it's over a year away. Like, because I got to see this trailer now.
July 2023. That's literally 13 months away.
I wonder what the filming schedule for that is like. Do they, because all of the scenes that they showed were like really, really high action. So like, do they have all the action scenes posted to like that they filmed, and then they just hold them and then they film everything smaller? Or like, how's that process? Because I would love to know that, it's like, because that would make sense as to why basically all we got was just a bunch of action shots. Tom running, jumping, everybody, just all this mysterious cut shots and stuff like that. But hey, it'd be interesting to know what their filming schedule's like.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say something about
that. I was just going to say, I know we had heard that they had shot some of this stuff early on, like the motorcycle over the cliff scene. I know that was one of the first things that they did shoot. And
right.
I think that's also if I'm not mistaken, that's also the set that Tom Cruise went off on people about the mask.
Yeah, with COVID, because it was one of the first things that came back into production. While COVID was still at not peak, but I would say like it was basically still like 2020 when they started shooting that, the end of 2020.
And they may have needed to. Yeah, that sinks. And they may have needed to change some things that they were shooting, because if I remember correctly, I think they were going to do both movies at the same time and release them sort of back to back in concurrent years. And so maybe they were even shooting part of the next film and some of that stuff, and they just had to like kind of separate it into part one, part two. And so that could have also extended that shooting schedule, and maybe there isn't enough scenes that are shot of just like person to person dialogue, and maybe most of that is action that we saw.
I know. I remember. I think it even shut down production at least twice because of COVID. Like, like it was a constant on and off with this film. Like it's just taking a while.
Yeah. So, what'd you guys think of that She-Hulk trailer?
Yeah, there's a lot of trailers this week.
Let's take a crack at this one first.
I'll just say, I'll go and go. The She-Hulk trailer. it looks like there's some cute little nods to some of the old comics, and that's cool. But overall, no, I don't. I'm not feeling this at all. I'll be honest. Like, it doesn't
Great
look that
response.
good.
Overall, no.
Overall, no for me.
Yeah, your voice got really high on that.
Yeah, the CGI looks a little rough. And I don't know. I don't want to say like the She-Hulk storyline doesn't interest me, but it's never been one that like I've ever read before, and I don't know. It makes me feel like such a Marvel fangirl, and I'm like, so this show is gonna connect a lot of other dots, right? Like I'll watch it if that's what's happening, but if this show is basically like, oh, we're connecting this dot here and maybe that dot there, but we don't have like a bunch.
So basically, if it's not like a piece in a larger picture, you're like,
yeah, if it doesn't wind up being a piece in the big puzzle, I'm good. That's where I'm at.
I'll go ahead and say, I'm not familiar with She-Hulk as a comic at all. I watched this, and I mean, we talked about it offline as we always do, and how, I give them credit, I guess, for trying to do something different. I guess the idea here is to make kind of a comedy, and I keep hearing the Ally McBeal reference to this. And and it's cool that Marvel does different things. I want them to.
Yes.
But
I
think trying to do something like this in that mode, it seems too much of like a satire kind of. I don't even know if that's the right word here. Like, just like, I mean, the first thought that I had was like, it just looks like a bad SNL skit, and I kind of stand by that. That's just how it looks to me.
Yes.
With that said, and I know, I mean, there's a part of me that wants to go, hey, if I watch another trailer and I still think it looks terrible, maybe I'll just take a stand, and this will be like the first MCU like show I just won't even bother with. I won't even watch.
Oh, you're gonna watch it,
but I'm sure I'll watch it. I like Tatiana Maslany a lot. Like, and I want this to be good, just for her. I want it to be good because it's a Marvel show, and I want to enjoy this. I think the other thing that bugs me too is that, like, the Hulk that we get in the in Endgame and such is fun and all, but I'm kind of like this whole, like, I don't even know what you call it, like Professor Hulk or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
that's what they're kind of
like. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, he's fun, but I don't think that's the Hulk I really want to continue to see in the MCU. And that's, man, that's just me. But that's my takeaway from this. I watched it and I was like, I think this looks, I'll use the word terrible. I think it looks really bad. And I didn't even touch on the CG. The CG is what it is. I've heard the argument, and I guess I can see that maybe the problem is because of her looking so similar to a normal face. It's almost too close to a normal face, where then it makes it look really odd. Versus Hulk, he really looks different. So he looks more, at least in his normal Hulk-like form, I guess. Like, her, it's like I'm just bigger and green, but I still kind of look like a person. Like, maybe that's why it looks so weird, but it doesn't look great.
I'm so sorry. I got the last like scene in that trailer of her like picking up a dude and then like carrying him off to what I'm assuming is the bedroom was so cringe. Like, I can't. It's like, why? I watched that and was like, whoa, this is. It was like watching a 70s TV show version of She-Hulk. That one shot, I was like, no. Immediately no. I've seen what I've seen need to see.
Well, yeah, and I've heard that argument too of like, why is it that because we have a female lead, like, we have to like get involved in her dating life versus like any of our male leads? Like, and I mean, I don't know. Bobby, what do you think of it?
I liked it. I don't know.
Cool.
All I'll say is I wasn't put off by it. Obviously, the CG could use a lot of work, but outside of that, if I'm just looking at the tone of it and what I saw, it made me interested just because it's telling a different story from what I know of her origins in the comics. So I'm curious on that front. I'm glad that I agree. I would rather see a Raging Hulk more so than the Professor Hulk, but I'm still glad that he's in this and they're not just doing some sort of really off the wall kind of origin for it that doesn't involve the Hulk at all. I am curious by the concept of it and to see how well it actually is executed, just because it is something different. And from what I saw, I'm just like, it wasn't like I necessarily was laughing or into it in a way that it's like a sitcom, but just more out of like, this is different, this is interesting. I want to see how they play this out. That's kind of where I come at it from, in that, from that perspective of just wanting to I don't know, it's a courtroom drama, from not drama but a courtroom sort of comedy aspect of like Ally McBeal, like you said, mixed in with a little Sex in the City, I guess, in a sense, if you're talking about the dating life and all that kind of thing. So I don't know, it kind of makes a little sense based on the aspects of this character who, if you think about Jennifer Walters from the comics, when she was just this lawyer and sort of meek and mild mannered, and then she becomes more confident as she becomes She-Hulk, and to experience that, and you can kind of see that play out in the trailer a little bit. She's a little bit more confident as the She-Hulk, and now she can get her live her best life, so to speak. And so I'm curious how they'll do that, but also knowing I don't want to say in case people don't know, but I know that there's some pretty decent cameos that are going to be happening in the show. So I want to see how that gets incorporated in, and especially how it'll fit in with the tone, knowing the at least one of the cameos that are supposed to happen in there. I'm kind of curious how they'll do that. So I'm looking forward on that front as well. And while I don't think it will play into the larger picture of the MCU, much like at least for what we know right now, how Moon Knight kind of doesn't either. I am still curious to see if they do something with it in terms of a larger scale.
Yeah, I never gave my opinion on Moon Knight either.
None of us did. We never
We never did.
We've never said what we thought of the whole series after it finished. We haven't recorded since then.
That's true.
We'll have to address that another time. I feel like that's a little bit more of a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yasha, Yasha, what did you think of the Shield?
Let's start with what I liked. I don't know Tatiana's work that well, so I can't really say whether or not I like her that much. I love the fact Jamila is in it. Tim Roth. I like Mark Ruffalo, and there's some other people that are, slated to be on this or in this, but I'm not going to throw that out there in case people haven't seen it or haven't watched the trailer and whatnot and don't know. That's pretty much where it stops for me when it comes to like what I liked. Like, I mean, I look like David, like just to basically take the same approach that David did, is like, I like that Marvel tries different things. I really, really enjoy that they're like, hey, let's just be creative with all of it. Like, and I stand by this, and I've talked to my friends about it. They all feel the same way. WandaVision was probably one of the most creative shows I've ever watched, hands down. Love Loki, all that stuff. I love the direction that they're taking with some of these stories, and that they're trying to make things different and trying to do them. This seemed over the top, campy and corny, and I wouldn't watch this show if it was. I didn't watch Ally McBeal when Ally McBeal was on, so it's like to have it say that it has that tone. Not interested, don't care, and yeah, just I mean, I didn't even think of it until you brought it up. It's like, but why are we getting into her dating life when we don't talk about anybody else's dating life? I mean, the only person I think that we've come close to talking about their dating life is Doctor Strange. And that's because his love interest is essentially right there, on these adventures with him. I mean, we kind of. I mean, I guess with some of them we talk about how their love lost and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just and the CGI. Like I hope that this is just a rough draft and a rough cut because it just looks like a cartoon. It looks fucking terrible. Like I'm looking at it. I'm just like this is I'm not impressed, and I wasn't happy with the changing of the story. I liked the original story. I did read some of her books when I was young. She has a really cool backstory, and Professor Hulk is one thing. Like it was really fun in the Avengers, and it was there. But I mean, I was kind of hoping that we would get him a little angry and have that Hulk as well, or a different variation of the Hulk. Like there's so many different variations of the Hulk that are super cool that we just haven't even touched on. Like one of my favorites is Mr. Fix-It. Like that's such a cool storyline for him to be, but it's like we'll never get that, and that's fine, I guess. Like I like the back and forth, and it looks like maybe it'll be funny with the banter and stuff like that. But I just wasn't impressed with the storyline as it stands right now. Maybe it'll progress, and I will get sucked in. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give it a shot because it's Marvel, and I love Marvel. But at a first impression, I just kind of watched, and I've watched the trailer I think 2 or 3 times now, and I'm just still like, what the shit? Like I don't know what to make of it, and like I'm not super impressed with it. I had high hopes for it too. I was really excited. And I hate the subtitle, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. What?
Oh yeah, that was oh god. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, that's She-Hulk. What, the first episode drops in August, I think August 17th.
Yeah, there was a lot of trailers this week.
Yeah, we also have there was a decent amount of Star Wars news that came out of a Vanity Fair article.
Yeah.
Pre-celebration, which we have Star Wars Celebration this coming weekend. Bobby and I will both be there at least for a couple days. Looking forward to that. I haven't been to Celebration since it was last year in Orlando, which I only got to go for 1 day.
Was
Thanks
it
for
2019? When was that?
I don't remember what year.
2018?
No, I think it was before 2019. I forget.
Anyways.
Yeah, it was a lengthy article kind of leading into Kenobi, which also or Obi-Wan Kenobi, which debuts this coming weekend, the first 2 episodes. It's very Star Warsy right now, which I'm not mad at. But Bobby, I don't know, maybe you can like lead us into some of the stuff that article touched on if we wanted to discuss it. But it did make you and I talked about this. It made us wonder, like, how are they going to have anything to talk about at Celebration like after that article?
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel confident that they're going to probably reveal a casting for Thrawn at Celebration, since that show Ahsoka
And
is
Ezra.
shooting.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Ezra, because we haven't gotten any casting news on that yet. But beyond that, I mean, there's a part of me is like, are we even going to get any like reveals of anything? I mean, I don't know that there is anything new to reveal. I could see maybe getting news on like the Taika Waititi film, like what even that might even be, something like that. I could see getting at Celebration. I don't know. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, so I mean, just as an overview of what the article talked about, and there's different aspects of where we are currently with Star Wars, and a little bit of a peek as to where we're going. And a lot of it revolved around the idea that, at least in the theatrical sense, right now, it seems like the lineup will be the Taika Waititi movie, and then the I just lost it out of my head all of a sudden. The Rogue Squadron movie.
Oh yeah,
And
That'll be cool.
then the Kevin Feige movie, which he's producing, and there's nothing really concrete yet. She looks like she's still waiting to see what he's come out with for a movie. So that's the basic outline, but we don't know in terms of when these movies will come out, other than they were saying something about next December for Taika's movie, which I just don't see that happen.
How?
There's
How?
just no way
December
that's-
23? No
yeah, there's
way.
just
If they haven't
unless
a
they've been
look
doing
at
it in secret. That's the only, they've been
top-
filming in the
top
volume
secret.
the whole time.
He's
and
already like
that's
deep
the
into
only way.
pre-production or something.
Yeah.
He's already like, oh, we're editing now.
Right. I
Wait a
can't. I
minute, Don,
can't.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah, everyone would be shocked.
Damn.
So there's just I don't see that happening. But
That seems
Um,
very optimistic.
aside
Wow.
from that, she also mentioned the idea of really not right now having any trilogy movies. So it seems as though that's kind of
Standalone.
like off the table right now, and we're just gonna do just Star Wars movies.
Fine with that.
And then
Very
yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah. And so that was pretty much it in terms of the theatrical side. And then on the television streaming side, it was mostly just about a little bit more of what we already know, really, in terms of just talking a little bit more about Andor. And even I think it was today I saw something talking about that there was maybe 12 episodes in the first season of Andor, so it'd be
Yeah.
the longest series yet so far for a Star
Yeah.
Wars series. And they mentioned a little bit about the Acolyte, and just really just giving you just the sense that it's obviously a little bit before the well, a little bit I say, but it's like 100 years before the Skywalker saga of events happen.
Wow.
And it's really something that talks about how she mentioned, or someone in the article mentioned, how could the Sith have been operating and in secret as they had been for that long, for Palpatine to eventually rise to power. Who were the
Right.
people at that time that were sort of fostering that Sith legacy? And so there's the idea that could be a potential way of seeing Darth Plagueis, which is the master that was Palpatine before he killed Plagueis. So we might see that in there as well. And the other thing that they had mentioned was that there was a movie that John Watts is doing, or
Oh,
series
yeah.
for Disney Plus, I believe, that's centered around younger kids. That's sort of like they kept saying, sort of like a Stranger Things, maybe Goonies kind of thing.
Like, yeah,
And these, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, and that that is supposed to take place, if I remember correctly, and David, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's sometime after Return of the Jedi, but
Yeah.
before the Force Awakens. Some
Yeah,
period in
basically, it
there.
almost sounded very similar to kind of where Mandalorian sits.
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty much all we know about that. Michelle, it's telling you about that.
And I was just gonna say, I think what's interesting is the Andor series, focusing on, it's on Cassian Andor, and it sounds like it's gonna be him, but then also,
On Mon Mothma, it sounds like
yeah,
Mhm.
it'll
and-
kind of tell like both of their stories, kind of not like them working together, almost like how he's
Like
kind of
timeline wise,
timeline wise, kind of following both of them separately, almost is what it sounded like. the
and
show's
it sounds
gonna
like season 1 is focusing on like these pre-years, and then it sounds like he's getting a second season. Andor has 2
Yeah.
seasons,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the second season is actually a very short amount of time just prior to Rogue One. And I was like, man, this is going to be a sweet series. Like, and I say that because I and David and I both agree we love Rogue One. We actually just watched it the other day with David's kids. And again, I'm watching Rogue One. I'm going, God, this movie is so good. so freaking good.
So you
But,
guys
like-
are excited to see Andor?
Yeah.
am.
I think,
I am. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
like-
I'll admit, like at first when that was announced, I mean, I was kind of like, really, of all the things we could do, we're gonna tell a story about him. Okay, like, but it really seems like, I mean, we've known about the second season, I feel like, for a while now, and even just like the news of that, for them to go already, yep, we're making a second season of that. I even at that point, I was like, I feel like they must really have something
You're
here,
confident on something.
like that gets me excited.
yeah.
And then the news from this article about like how it's going to explore like him and as an immigrant and how he became, came to be in the rebellion. And I
Yeah.
don't know, it just I got a lot more excited actually about it just actually from reading this article. So yeah, I'm kind of pumped about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, again, rewatching Rogue One the other day, like his character, I'm like, he's deep. He's had to deal with some crap. Like you can tell, like they talk, he very quickly like mentions a few things. They're like, so it's like I'm impressed. I'm that excited for this one. Like I'm excited for Ahsoka as well. Oh my gosh.
Well,
But
yeah.
Well, that looks amazing.
I'm stupid excited for that. But yeah, like I was like, I'm surprised I'm also as excited as I am for Andor. Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
kind of glad that it's finally coming out because it feels like we've known about it for a
Yeah.
long time and it just has not come out yet. And I think that one, if I'm not mistaken, it's the next one right after Obi-Wan. So I want to say
Is
it's supposed to
Andor?
come out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
I think
The first
it's
season
either
of
June
Andor.
or August.
Yeah, sometime
first
this
season.
summer.
So the first season of Andor, and then Ahsoka, and then the second season of Andor.
Well, Mandalorian in there too.
Right.
Oh, and then the Mandalorian's thrown in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Ah.
Which they keep going back and forth on when that Mandalorian season 3 will be out. Some
late
people say
2022 or early 2023.
early 2020. Yeah. I'm gonna put my sights on early 2023 because for whatever reason I just don't think it'll end up coming out towards the end of the year. I'm hoping it does, but I don't know that it will.
It's so crazy how much awesome Star Wars news came out of one article from Vanity
Yeah.
Fair, and then the two of you guys are going to go to Celebration next weekend, and I'm like, dude, I cannot wait
This
to find out what
weekend.
happens at Celebration.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't
Yeah,
wait
this
to
week
find out
actually,
what
not
happens.
even weekend.
Yeah.
It's
Thursday and
literally in
Friday of the
3
week.
3 days.
5 days
days.
or 4 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are literally going on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
No,
And,
it's cool.
The one thing that they didn't mention, well, sure, I guess one of the things I should say is that they didn't mention anything in the article about any of the animation stuff. So currently
That is also true.
the Bad Batch is in its first season that finished a little while ago, last year sometime. So they didn't make any mention of that, but I do believe that they have a panel for it, or at least an overall animation panel, I think.
I think they do. Yeah.
At Star Wars Celebration, so might hear more about it there and any additional animated series that they might have in the works as well. And then the one other thing that Kathleen Kennedy mentioned that caused a little dust up was that she said one of the lessons that they learned from doing Han Solo story was that they shouldn't try and replace the older actors that were in the movies with younger actors. And that was the lesson that they learned from doing that. So
that was the lesson, not the
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
adjacent to that, that means that at one point in time during that call that they had last year, that was for the investors or whatever, they had announced the Lando Calrissian series. So I'm guessing that must be off the table now if they're not going to have younger people portraying the older actors anymore. And it's also a contradictory statement because we have Obi-Wan series coming out in a few days that is a younger actor playing younger-ish actor playing an older actor.
We had a whole trilogy of films with a younger actor.
Right.
Yeah,
The younger
yeah.
version
So
of-
And it's so frustrating to hear that they're like, this is the lesson we learned. I'm like, the actors weren't the problem, guys. You've completely missed the issue. The issue was not them. Nobody, like, I mean, and for certain, like Daniel Glover as
Lando.
Yeah,
Danny
Donald Glover. as
Donald
Lando.
Glover as Lando. God, I don't know why. He was stupid good, and I'm even okay with Aaron Ulrich as Han. Like I was like, it's like once I kind of got into it, I'm like, yeah, no, it's cool. We're good with it.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like y'all completely missed the issue with Solo.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
You missed the message. Like that's just not okay.
It's just frustrating because I'm like, I would have. Oh God, it would have been so cool to watch a Lando series on Disney Plus. Are you kidding me? God dang.
Or Leia.
Neat. I would love to see a
I
Leia
would-
series.
I think there's definitely
You
good
kidding?
potential for good Leia content that, apparently. I mean, and I know we've gotten a lot of good content of her in the books that have come out that are now canon books, but still, like, there's a good opportunity to tell some good stories with her that apparently
Seriously.
we won't get, like, other than books, which books are great, but
Well, and the books are fine, but like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
no,
I would
I-
love to see a Leia series. Are you kidding me? That'd be a freaking amazing.
which reading that
So
article and then
frustrating.
like you mentioned, we rewatched Rogue One yesterday,
Yeah.
and again, yeah, to repeat, I love that movie. I think more every time I see
so
it, I think it gets better and better. But yeah, like, and I'm saying this as someone like with the Grand Moff Tarkin like CG. I didn't hate on it. It's fine, but
See,
I
thought
watched it.
his CG was actually okay.
It is okay, but even still, it's still like second you see him, I think it still pulls you out of the film just a little bit because it's not perfect. You still go, oh, CG character that's human, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have at another moment where I think it would have been better off with just a recast. And the Leia moment at the end, I mean, again, I didn't hate on it. A lot of people did. It's fine.
I did.
But would it be better, I think, with just a recast? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Because you look at what is it? You said Grand Moff
Tarkin.
Tarkin. They recast her, and that actress.
Oh, Mon Mothma.
or
you're
Mon
talking about,
Mothma. Mon Mothma. They recast her, and she looks awesome.
Another example.
Yeah.
She looks so
Holy shit.
good.
Yeah, she looks fantastic. She looked
Yeah.
great. in Rogue One, almost couldn't even tell.
You
it was a
almost
different
couldn't even
actress.
tell it was a completely different human being. Like it was incredible. And so like you can't recast these characters. And I think a lot of people are okay with it as long as you do it well. And so to hear
Yeah.
that that's the issue that they think is the issue is just so like you guys
At least what
are really-
Kathleen thinks is the issue, which is
Right.
Like,
distinction because she's running Lucasfilm. So it didn't help her ingratiate herself into the people who already think poorly of her. So that
Well,
only
and
added
she's-
more fuel to it. And then also she didn't discount the idea that they'll just continue using deepfakes for older actors that could be able to be potentially used. So I don't want that either necessarily.
Right.
of
I'd
the-
rather you
of
just
them
not
doing
use
that.
these characters then. and
Yeah.
just
Like,
not-
Yeah, just don't use them then. It doesn't make any sense. It's so
I feel
whack.
like they really lucked out on their deep fake of Luke in Mandalorian. And they really lucked out on it. But also, if you look at the behind the scenes and you see the actor who they have him doing, he looks pretty freaking close, man.
Yeah.
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 Just
Yeah,
without the
there's-
CG.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have just really used him, and it would have been
Mhm.
fine.
I'd have been okay with it.
yeah.
Like,
But but you're right. If of all the ones they've done, that one is it's
Prob-
pretty solid.
they really it was a solid deep fake on that one.
But
yeah.
I would still prefer, if given the choice, you just
Totally.
recast a young Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But that was pretty much the gist of what the articles had covered, and then like we said, that doesn't leave all that much for celebration, at least otherwise, if there's some surprises that they've saved for celebration, other than just what we already know that they already have panels planned for. So, and like you said, David, maybe mentioning some casting news for some of these shows, like for Ahsoka especially, and then just some of the other stuff that they might have for
Yeah.
fleshing
Maybe
out the Andor series and stuff like that.
Maybe they'll reveal the Tychus project.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing that I would
That would be so
suggest
cool.
that they
Yeah.
probably will cover is getting into that a little bit. So,
Right.
yeah.
I want text messages, gentlemen. I want text messages before I see it in my news stream.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I
We'll
want
see
to
what
know.
panels we get into, or
Right. Right.
yeah.
By the way,
We've already. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I know we've already kind of used up basically all of our time, but I know you guys have all since like watched things you want to talk about at least briefly. So definitely
Okay.
get to that. But first,
So then,
Bobby.
real quickly, I just wanted to mention the people that are watching live, and if you are watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. But aside from that, the Thor trailer is supposed to drop tonight. Second Thor trailer.
Oh, that's right. A second Thor. That's
And
right.
so it's supposed to air sometime during the NBA game. I think it's the Boston and Heat game.
Mm.
So you should be looking out for that. And I also had heard today that a lot of the reviewers, critics, and all, and YouTube reviewers have gotten the first, I want to say maybe first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, and the social media embargo lifts
No.
on Wednesday for that. So
Okay.
Okay.
we should start seeing word about what that series is like in the next couple of days as well.
Nice.
And like that's a prime example of they're trying something different again with their shows, and I'm all for Marvel trying. I mean, like, I don't think they're just totally like throwing darts at a dartboard and seeing whatever the heck sticks, but I think they're at least going, let's try this. This would be a good
Right.
show to try this tone with,
Mhm.
and this show, this is a storyline where we could go this way with this kind of a tone. So I think it's good that they're trying, and this show I think is a good example of that. The She-Hulk, not as much, but I think Miss Marvel looks like it'll be a good trial of a different thing.
Well, Michelle, we'll start with you.
Yeah.
You saw Downton Abbey, the new film, whatever the full title is. I don't remember it.
It's Downton Abbey, the new era, and it's basically it's the second full-length film for what began as a show on the BBC. And the whole premise of this is basically it's a passing of the baton. Like, it kind of started happening at the end of the first film, with one of the characters kind of taking the lead in what she is going to be performing as her role in life with Downton Abbey. But then this is just more passing of the baton to even the younger generations, the children that basically they had, and then just kind of closing up a couple of little like storylines that have kind of didn't come to a full close in the last film that kind of are in this film. And no, it was good. It was really enjoyable. If you are a Downton fan like I am, like I really enjoyed it. I would say if you're a Downton fan, bring your tissues. But it was good. I liked it. It was a Downton film. It's a Downton storyline. I wish I could say, like, it's upstairs, downstairs, and you get to see everybody. Everybody returns for their roles, and it was enjoyable. Yeah, it was a nice return to a series of characters that you like. So yeah, no, it was
I
good.
feel like they'll make more of these. I think it made 16 million over the weekend.
It did pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't
decent
know how
number.
many more they'll make, but I will say, like,
spin-offs or something.
yeah, like the first film when it ended, I was like, oh yeah, this needs a follow-up. And then they did this film. This one doesn't quite end on that. No, I mean, a little bit, but it wraps up a lot. But it also, again, it's this whole like passing of the baton. So I could see them doing one, and it would be, this one takes place at the very beginning of the 1940s. So very into the 30s. World War II hasn't started yet. So if they were to start another one, the kids are still really young for World War II. So it almost would be post World War II. I think if they were to do another one, and the kids would be more, I say kids, the grandchildren basically would be teenagers. And it would be after World War II. I think they'd have to almost jump the time a little bit. Or they could do it in World War II, but the way they left it was more of we want to focus on the next gen who's going to be moving forward with the Abbey and such. So I don't know, but I could see them doing at least a third film. It might be the last one, but I could see it happening.
Right. Bobby, did you watch anything this week you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, well, the
I
only
feel like
thing
you should take the scroll out, just go.
no. Actually, you would think that I'd watched a ton of stuff, and I guess I have, but the the main thing that I watched, which is most relevant, is I watched Chippendale Rescue Rangers
Oh,
on
you've watched it.
on Disney Plus, and you know what? I've seen and heard a ton of reviews for this movie, and everyone seems to love it unabashedly. And I will say that I am not to that level, but I did like it. I did enjoy it. There are so many Easter eggs and cameos in this movie that I think those people who love that kind of stuff will go crazy for it. I went crazy for a few things that they had of cameos in there just because I thought it was done really well. And overall, that's what I will say about the movie. It's very clever. It's clever in the way that they use certain cameos and the way the whole story unfolds. And it's done in a really intelligent, clever, fun way, and it's like this Roger Rabbit kind of meets Wreck-It Ralph kind of thing. There's a mix of things there, but it does it in a way that isn't it's meta, but at the same time and self-aware, but at the same time it does it in a heartwarming sort of way. I don't know. It's very interesting the way they were able to pull it off, because you could easily see how this could be very much in the realm of Space Jam, the new one, and it just sort of is just just too much and just doesn't work. And this does work somehow, some way. There's a couple little things in there that I thought were not great, but overall I found myself entertained and watching it all the way through, and was like, oh yep, I catch that reference, I caught that, and I do remember the Disney cartoon when it was out back in the day,
Yeah.
during the time of DuckTales, and you had all the
those were
other
the
shows,
days
so
after school.
yeah, Disney afternoon. So yeah, so many cameos, and it's fun seeing them. So I would suggest it. It's on Disney Plus. I'm sure you have Disney Plus, so check it out.
Maybe I'll watch it with David's kids.
Yeah.
No, if I thought about it, we could have watched that on yesterday,
But we watched Rogue One.
watch
and I'm
Rogue
not
One
mad at that.
instead. No, we're gonna watch Rogue One, guys. Yasha, did you watch anything you wanted to discuss?
Sure. I mean, I just started a new series on Netflix. It's actually been on for a while, but I saw a trailer for it and I just kind of got intrigued. I am watching and have started Russian Doll.
Oh.
Excuse me, with Natasha Lyonne. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I've only been through one episode. Really excited because it looks like each episode is about 30 minutes, and I can fly through that very, very quickly. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what it is. It's funny, dark, kind of cryptic, and I'm interested in seeing where the show goes.
I think you're gonna like this one, Yasha.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing, and it's really enjoyable the whole way through. Like, you'll get to a point that it's like you're not just trying to kind of get through it to binge it, just kind of get done with it. You're just like, I gotta know what's next. Like, you just have to. Like, it's really good. I'm looking forward to watching the second season. Actually, I haven't watched any of it yet.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to hear that you picked that one up. That's a good one.
Agree.
Anything else? Anybody got anything else? You wanted to-
I
Yeah,
don't want
I do.
Okay.
Sorry. We're 3 episodes in, and it's not even really like a long thing to talk about, but I just got to say that I am really enjoying Strange New Worlds. It's on Paramount Plus. It's a new Star Trek series that takes place with Captain Pike and the crew of the Enterprise. And each episode has been very much standalone episodes, just like an old school series, the original series, where
Nice.
they're just a different adventure each week, and no real. There is an overarching thing there with Captain Pike, but not necessarily to where it's playing into each episode so deeply that you had to have seen the last episode to understand what's going on with them. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that show a lot.
Yeah, I'm really interested in watching it, but it's been a busy week, so hasn't happened yet.
I had one last thing that you can review with me.
Mm.
Okay.
That would be this magical new ride. that opened up.
Ah,
Oh yeah. I guess we can touch on that really quick.
I mean, we don't talk about forever. Yeah. I was
No,
just-
it's not gonna like. I mean, we're not gonna do a full-on 30-minute review
Right.
of the new ride at Epcot.
So yeah, technically on May 26th, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind opens up at Epcot here in Orlando, Florida. And because Dave and I are annual pass holders, we did our annual pass holder preview and got to ride it last Monday.
It's true. We did.
So we've had it
Hmm.
hanging out there for a while.
All right. Well,
Okay,
Yeah.
and like, did it suck? Was it great? Can we continue the sentence? Like, are
I
you guys
don't
are
know
both
if
looking
David
at
wants
each
to
other?
pick up. I always feel like I'm always talking all the time.
I can. If you don't know anything about the ride, I mean, well, first of all, if you don't know anything about the situation here on the East Coast at our parks, we can't, Disney can't use as many of the Marvel characters in the parks like you
Yeah.
guys can out west at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Just due to rights issues with Universal, and Universal has their own Marvel section over in their parks that's been there forever. But anyway, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy is one of those groups of characters that doesn't really have to abide by that, and they were able to do that ride, and they put it in at Epcot. First, I'll say before I even get to the ride, I've heard varying things on, does this ride belong in Epcot? And I will say, actually, I think it's hard to say because they're not done with the front of Epcot yet. Like,
Right.
they're basically redesigning the whole front portion
Yeah.
of Epcot, and it's got a whole new name. And but as it stands, there was a part of me that was thinking I'd ride this and go, yeah, this is awesome, but what is it doing in Epcot? And actually, I don't think I have a problem with it being there. Even in the queue, I think they're making an effort for it to kind of fit the theme of Epcot. That's mostly where you get that Epcot feel about
Yeah.
it. But other than that, it was, it worked. But anyway, the ride itself is pretty awesome. Like
The physical ride itself.
the ride itself is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a roller coaster. It's very similar in a lot of ways to our Space Mountain that we have in our parks versus I've been on the one at Disneyland, and they're actually kind of different.
On the one in Disneyland Paris is completely different. It's a solid
And
coaster.
that's a whole
That's
different
nother
ballgame.
ballgame.
But it's similar to that in some ways, but obviously completely modernized and way better. I won't spoil anything about the storyline and what's going on in it, but I mean, James Gunn shot footage with the cast that's in the ride in the queue. I'm kind of bummed there's a point in the queue that the characters are used in like this, like it's like a news report kind of thing, and I didn't get to see that. We were like moving right into the first like holding room as that started and didn't get really to see it. But no, the ride is great. I can't recommend it enough. I've heard some stuff that a lot of people are having motion sickness problems on it.
Yeah.
And I have found that as I'm getting older, that as like someone who never had problems with motion sickness when I was a kid, there's times now I feel like as I'm getting older that can be a thing on certain rides. And I didn't have that issue on this. I also made an effort to not eat or drink like anything for like a couple hours before I rode it, just because I had heard stuff like that. But I didn't have any motion sickness issues. But I thought the ride was awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you guys have a Guardians out there where your Tower of Terror got converted, right?
Right.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
yours is a little, Tower of Terror is a totally different ride than this, and this is a coaster. It's probably the best ride that Disney World has done in years as a ride goes. And I say that even in comparing it to Rise of the Resistance. Rise of the Resistance is a really good ride, and it's an immersion experience. But as a ride goes, I would say that Rise of the Resistance it's nice. It's a nice ride.
Yeah,
but as far as
that's
an
true.
immersion experience, Rise is really good.
Mhm.
This is a really great ride. The
Wow.
storyline is a little, I'll be honest, the story is a little weak, enjoyable, but a little, whatever. The ride itself is amazing. It's so good. And I didn't have any motion sickness issues as David, but I'm like, and yeah, I'm getting older and I do kind of notice that. But basically, yeah, if you have an issue with like, not that this ride does it, but if you have ever been in like kind of a centrifugal kind of a situation, the way that like Mission Space is here at Epcot, a lot of people that basically wind up getting sick on Mission Space are, I guess, having the same issues with this. And it's because of the way your brain and your eyes will watch something, and if you move, things just don't compute right, and it can make you nauseous.
Okay.
And yeah, like some people are like, does that even belong at Epcot? Should this be more at the studios? And I'm like,
Why? What does
like-
Epcot have that is it not like a roller
that's a much more
coaster
low
type?
key park.
Well, I think Epcot has
okay.
always been like the
Education.
like it's education.
Mm.
The future world section, as it used to be called, used to be very much about like science and like education about our future and technology, and then World Showcase in the back part of the park is about, you know, different countries and cultures.
Right.
And I mean, in general, the Disney parks, and I won't go off on a tirade about this, but in general, the Disney parks are just incorporating IP into everything now. Like
Okay.
Right.
that whole aspect of Epcot is dead. Like,
I guess they're running out of
Yeah.
space, so they gotta put stuff somewhere. If they
yeah, and like, yeah, sure, with the idea that
Yeah.
maybe it should be in studios, but like studios has enough right now. You couldn't put
Mhm.
it at studios. Epcot was
Yeah.
the place for it to go.
And
Mm.
I think it works there.
I think
And
it works.
and again, like you're saying, there's a whole nother section at the front of Epcot that they're redoing a whole bunch of Epcot. There's this whole section that's going to be a Moana ride, and I don't even know what that ride's going to entail, but
Wow.
that could be a little more adventurous, which I'm super okay with. Like it's nice because Epcot as a whole, there are rides there, but nothing is really for a theme park, kind of for fun. It's not that adventurous. And this gives it a little bit of an edge. And yeah, I'm not mad at it. It's awesome. I literally can't wait to ride that ride again. I unfortunately know I'm probably not going to ride that ride for many months to come because I know how crazy
it'll
it's
be.
going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really it was really enjoyable. And if you guys ever make it to Disney World, I can't wait to have you guys experience this
Yeah,
ride.
for
I think you
sure.
guys are gonna be pretty impressed.
There's a
Pretty
lot of
awesome.
things I want to see at Disney World. I've never been,
Oh.
so there's so much, you know.
Oh, Bobby, there's so much to show you.
The only one nitpicky thing I'll say about the ride, and I just don't get it, like you shot all this footage with the whole cast, and I mean, unless I'm crazy, that is not Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket. And I'm like,
Oh,
why?
No.
Like, you telling me you couldn't afford to get Bradley Cooper to do his voice for
wow.
Rocket?
to read 6 lines.
like, come on.
Like seriously, you couldn't
Wow.
throw Bradley in a studio for half an hour.
I mean, whoever is doing the voice, it's fine, you know. I
fine.
mean, but it's like, just pay whatever he wants and just get him to do it. Like, you know, I don't know. That just irritated me. I'm like,
I get that.
come on, Disney, you have more money than God. Just
Yasha, I can't hear
Yasha,
you.
I
Yasha.
think you're still muted on your end.
Sorry, for the siren, I decided to mute myself.
Okay.
But it's reminiscent to me of what, you know, when they were making Shrek 2 and they didn't want to pay Eddie Murphy to do Donkey again, and Steven
Mm.
Spielberg stepped in and was like, pay him whatever he wants. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense. It won't make sense if you try and get somebody who sounds like him to do this
Yeah.
movie. That's a fucking horrible idea.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a nitpicky thing about this ride. I mean, the use of the characters in it is cool, but it's not like everything. Like, is
Yeah.
the way I'll put it.
Yeah, I mean, like this ride, the story is just it takes a back seat to the ride itself. Like
Yeah.
the ride is the ride, and the story that's happening while you're on the ride is
It's
cool.
cool.
But that's not. At least, I mean, like I'm looking forward to writing it again to maybe actually pay a little more attention to the story because I was just so like, this ride is amazing. Like, I literally, my eyes started watering, and I had water go this way, and then it went up, and then it went
Wow.
down, and then went back into my cheeks, and then back out of my
Wow.
cheeks. I was like, This ride is so awesome. So awesome.
But no, it was good.
It was good.
So
We liked it.
yeah, I think when it first opens, it's only going to be available like as a virtual queue and like a Lightning Lane Plus purchase.
For a while,
There's
they were saying.
no standby line whatsoever for that.
Yeah, there's
ride,
not gonna,
so.
They said that they're going to do it that way for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow.
yeah, it's going to be insane. Like it's
Like Rise of the Resistance has been
like Rise of the
which
Resistance has been nuts. I mean,
it's finally getting to the point. I mean, when we finally wrote it just recently.
that was like what 6 months after it opened.
Oh well, way over 6 months. That ride had been open for a while.
All right,
Yeah.
I've been open for a long time.
Anyways, yeah. Unless anybody has anything else they want to touch on really quick, I think that'll do it.
While you were talking about the ride, the trailer for Thor: Love and
Oh, did it
Thunder
drop?
second
Nice.
trailer dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Alright.
probably have a look at Gore also in this one because
Oh.
they just released another poster. I just sent it to you guys.
There's
Oh.
multiple looks at Thor or
Yeah.
Gore in the trailer. I kind of looked at it, but I couldn't hear anything. I could see
Just
it,
kind
but
of watching it without
Yeah.
sound. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So.
I figured I mean, since they put him in like the poster, I was like, okay, so he's probably going to pop up in the trailer
Yeah.
finally, and we'll
Yeah.
see the antagonist for the film.
All right.
Yep.
Well,
Well-
I'll watch that as soon as we're done here. Yeah, with that, I guess next week again. I mean, we're kind of doing a bi-weekly schedule right now. I
Yeah.
mean, it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm going to be out there with you guys in California next weekend.
Yeah, you guys are all going to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun.
So
Aw.
yeah. Even though in one way it would be like, oh, good opportunity to do a show with you guys, but I don't think that's probably going to happen while we're there.
It's
So,
a boy.
let's be
It's,
honest.
it's a guys' weekend next weekend.
So
sad I'm gonna miss
yeah,
out,
we'll be
but-
doing a show again in a couple weeks, and we'll put out there what we'll be reviewing before
Top
that.
Gun.
Top
You know,
Gun.
it's funny, Michelle.
There
It's
you
like
go.
you say that, Michelle, and I was thinking about it today, and I was like, we're probably just going to go watch Top Gun. Like, like that's probably on the roster. Like it might happen. So
Right.
Well, I mean, Bobby and David are going to wind up watching freaking Obi-Wan probably at Celebration.
Well, we'll probably just watch
Probably.
it Friday morning. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
watching
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Right
that's the one thing that they have been saying that's heavily rumored is that on Thursday at some point in time they'll show the first 2 episodes of
Okay, so
Obi-Wan.
you guys might actually get to watch it Thursday.
Right.
Yeah.
Third, you know.
That's cool.
What a horrible weekend you guys have.
Terrible.
My goodness.
Yeah.
But as always, we'd love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. If you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or Twitter, all the different places that we live stream, make sure to leave questions and comments down below. Over on YouTube, you can like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live in the future. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at Flicker_effect, by the way. With that, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening and